everyone. I've had a horrible morning. For various reasons. The main one is I've been trying to do a good recording of this and like that's been okay, but then like doing it so that it's just that on the screen. You know how people do with like audio books? Is that the right word? Audible? Whatever. Yeah, I failed. So I'm just going to read it to you. So by all means, watch me read, but the book's not even going to be in view, which is very annoying. Or just do what I normally do when I'm listening to something and just put the screen out of the way so you can just hear the voice. Anyway, sorry, I'm just going to add this while I'm watching it and editing it. This is basically inspired by Pilgrim's Progress, which was written by John Bunyan a long time ago. Look him up. It's very interesting. And Pilgrim's Progress is amazing. And I grew up with my dad. When my dad had ME, one of the things that he could still do was read. And he made a huge effort and read Pilgrim's Progress every year to my sisters and I. Well, my mum had a much needed rest. So I love Pilgrim's Progress, but I know that some people struggle with the sort of old language. So I've kind of done like Old English because I love the way Old English sounds, but sort of in a slightly more modern, understandable way. That's the plan. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. It gets tense and exciting, and I think probably sometimes I'm going to have to do 2 chapters rather than 1 because there's cliffhangers and all sorts, but we'll see how we get on. But I hope you enjoy it, and lots of love. Also, one other thing, it's not going to be like a professional reading kind of thing because all the time on my channel I've wanted it to feel like I'm just one of your friends chatting to you in the same room as you type thing. And so, you know, chances are I'm going to say the words wrong and cough in the middle of it or whatever, but I'm just going to carry on because it's too much hard work. And also I want it to feel as sort of natural and flowy as possible. So anyway, this is my first attempt. Here we go. The Treasure Hunter's Tale, Chapter 1. I will tell you a story of peril and adventure, of battles and victory, of valour and of treasure and discovery. There were once 3 men who were called Mr. Believe All You Hear, Mr. By Good Works, and Mr. Stoneheart, who went on a journey. These men, by varying degrees and encouragement from others, had come to realise that they needed to change direction, turning their backs on their current route and walk in a certain path that had been walked by many others before them, and had met together on this road, having each in their turn gone through the gate that belonged to the king of that road. How they had started on the road, I will let each of them relate as this tale goes on. I'm just checking it's still recording. Now this road, although straight, was full of many perils and challenges. See, it also sometimes went through beautiful fields and dewy glens, of the which, if my reader would like to read further, there are other books written by better men who have also travelled this very same road. They had met after receiving new names from the king of the road at the steep hill called Salvation, where, as you may know, they were also given new clothes and various other vital and necessary things, including their passports, which were to be shown at their journey's end and whenever required to be evidenced along their way. Now the new names that our 3 travellers were given by the king were these. Mr. Believe All You Hear was now called Mr. Discover the Truth. Mr. By Good Works became Mr. Saved by Grace. And lastly was Mr. Stoneheart, given the lovely name of Mr. Newhart. These 3 were also given a commission by appointment of His Great and Wonderful Majesty, the King of all kings, to become his loyal and devoted treasurers, and so needs must not only traverse the King's Road, but also to quest on their journey for various and wonderful treasures, which my lord the King would have them store up in their hearts, that they might not wander from their purpose. Our tale begins at the start of this quest, when our 3 travellers had already been on the King's Road for some time, and had traversed many a pit and snare, and had, to date, received several battle wounds, as those had before them, but these had in time healed, and given them new respect for the armour they had been provided with at Salvation Hill for their protection and encouragement, and new fervour to hunt with greater earnest and attention for the treasure they were to discover and store in their hearts. The armour was of a most excellent design and fitted each man perfectly. The aspects of this armour I will now proceed to relate, starting from a man in only his tunic, as modesty and humility is necessary for the armour to be most comfortable. If this is not worn, then the edges of the metal rub and cause horrible blisters and sores. Next, the belt of all things true is applied. to hold the tunic of humility close to the skin, to prevent any coldness creeping in. But more importantly, it is the belt of all things true on which is hung the great and two-edged sword of the word of truth. This sword is the only thing recognisable to most of us as a weapon. All other parts of the armour are for protection, although some old soldier may like to argue that the shield, which is the shield of trust in the word of the king, could also be used as a weapon, when up close, as well as to quench the fiery darts of the evil one. Next, the shining and magnificent breastplate of righteousness. Magnificent because it belongs to the king's own son, Prince Emmanuel, and is there to protect a man's heart of flesh, which is precious and tender. As all good soldiers know, it is very important to protect the head, as it carries the brain and therefore the mind and will too. The helmet provided by the king is one called salvation, and is a constant reminder of whose we are and whom we serve. Lastly, the footwear. As all good pilgrims know, it is vital that they are sturdy and strong, but comfortable too, able to take a battering from constant use and still remain good and true. The footwear is called Beautiful Feet, and is named such to remind every soldier or hunter or pilgrim that though they may have to fight on the journey, the main focus of the king's message brings peace and good news to those who will hear it. Finally, with all prayer as the battle charge, this man is ready for his journey. A caution to new travellers on the road. Unlike most armour, which is removed at night for rest and repose, never take this armour off, even to wash, as you never know when an enemy may strike on the way. The road had led them into a great and vast kingdom land called Truth, and at the entering in they were met by the officer of that land, who, having seen their passports, showed them great and wonderful things. He also gave them glasses to help them see more clearly, and trowels that they might excavate the area. For, said he, there are many hidden treasures in this soil, as well as treasure more easily seen. You must keep your eyes open and be ready to get down on your knees and dig. Mr. Discover the Truth took his trowel and, thanking the officer heartily, began at once to dig in the verge of the road. As, said he, I had better start, as I mean to go on. True, said his companions, and they too put down their kit bags and started to dig. The officer smiled and wished them good hunting. It wasn't long before Mr. Saved-by-Grace's trowel hit something hard, and he called his friends to come over and help him move away the earth around whatever it was his trowel had come to. For some time they scrabbled away, spurred on by their excitement and anticipation. This thing was very large, and as they discovered more of it, each treasure hunter felt it was of great importance. It turned out to be a great piece of granite stone, cut at right angles and covered all over in ancient script, which, thanks to the glasses provided by the officer of that land, they were able to decipher. It said, "The chief end of man is to love the king and enjoy him forever." The three men sat back on their heels and wiped the sweat from their brow, for they had been digging for quite some time. They looked at one another and smiled. So, beamed Mr. Newhart, our main reason for being alive is to love our king. He let out a breath of air between his teeth. And we are made so we can enjoy being his servants forever, sighed Mr. Saved-by-Grace happily. Not just his servants, but his own precious children, observed Mr. Discover the Truth with a tear of joy and wonderment in his eye. We should set up this great stone for all future travellers, he stated, so they too can be encouraged as to their purpose in this life, and to help them on their journey on this road. The others agreed heartily, and so with much straining, for you must understand that the stone was extremely large and heavy, they set it up on its base so it was visible for miles around. A good day's work, observed the officer of the land, and went back into his bunker, while the three treasure hunters had their tea and settled down for a good rest, as they intended to be up early next morning. Such was their eagerness to be once more on their journey. But each, before falling into a happy and peaceful sleep, sent messages of thanks to the king as they stored up the treasure in their hearts. Our main purpose is to love the king and enjoy him forever.